Well, okay. You tell me I should stop eating cheez-its?
Yes. Well, you should have already
Okay.
stopped eating Cheez-Its. I told you we're not
Sucks
doing
to
the
be the
Cheez-It.
listener.
I told you we're not doing the Cheez-Its bit. You
What did
screwed
I
it.
just say about my memory being bad?
You just screwed it up again.
We just include this in.
Listen, now close the Cheez-Its, right?
I
Because
finished
I
the
know
little
there's gonna
baggie.
be a random
I
crinkle
finished.
in like 4 to 5 minutes, okay? We have to close the Cheez-Its.
Wait, no, that'd be so funny.
If we're
Oh,
not
but
doing the
I finished
Cheez-It
them.
bit, the Cheez-Its have to be closed,
I
okay?
finished them. Let me go get a candy so I have something else to chew on.
No, it's bad for recording. Oh my god! What did I tell you? What the fuck?
We need to just make the video like 30 minutes long, but like half of it's just all of our outtakes before.
You piece of shit. I've already thrown half of that in the garbage can. The Bay of Blood. The Bloody Bay. Earns its name yet again. We did
Can you
not
believe
learn
this?
our lesson. It was not done with
They
us.
they killed this entire population of Charp tribes defending their homes, and then conscripted all of the young men that were farming to replace their fathers to fight us again.
You
This
literally just
monster
said
happened.
last episode they didn't know how to use PD good, but they dumped these Shark Tribe pretty good. And we killed the province
Don't
commander?
worry.
Doesn't matter. Shark Tribe, berserk.
Yeah, don't worry. I've got another punchline prepared.
Darkwolf, are you still eating
You-
Cheez-Its?
No, this is the melon candy.
So that happened. We died there. We sent another force raiding into PD. We thought it would be good enough. It wasn't. But there's another fight this turn, because we're not cowards. So when they retreated to their fort, we decided to follow them up. And like cowards, they ran again and left this PD to die. This is not a terribly interesting fight.
What was you were saying about them knowing how to use HP?
They know how to use PD, but that can't stop them from being cowards. From a long line of cowards and men who run from battles. And an interesting artifact of this battle is that you didn't see a mage die in it. And a mage died in the battle report because
And we couldn't figure out how.
I could figure out how. Because the Illwinter,
Oh,
RNG
they
that
literally
use.
just updated it like yesterday. Yeah, the game updated like yesterday. That makes more sense.
Well, when Illwinter updates their game, they include a new RNG seed. And the RNG seed is going to be used to make those battle replays happen, but the battle report will be what initially actually happened. What really did happen was a bullied mage got hit by the puff off of a moss body and died. Hazards of the business, but in this replay, you didn't see any of that. We just wrecked them. But they did run. We failed to follow up here. But we did follow up here with just this tiny little scratch force, Melia, in this buff blob with just some Asartits for extra HP on it. And we munched through these Triton pretty good with them. So that's the power of little Melia buff blobs. Just 3
Which we
Melia.
can get into more later on, because
Yeah.
you'll keep seeing these, Melia. Is there anything else worth talking about?
Yes!
Yes, there is.
Yes, the saga of Lake Vastness continues. Our insurance policy here. We've built a fort down here, and we're starting to recruit some very slowly build up meteorite guard. We've started our infrastructure. We can start to build up bullied mages here as well. We've got our insurance policy. They can, even if they do come and take our cap, which is looking less and less likely because we push them forward. Dance we're doing. We're still winning at this point. It's still slow. The mooch are all so slow. And the way he's playing, we're going to have to just move our guys around one province at a time.
Besides that, I guess one notable thing is
Nobody's
since we
dead
seem
yet.
to be following the saga of Doggerland, Last turn, they had 5 mercs, and if you open the mercenaries tab, they're all dead. In addition,
This is pro
you can
tier
open the Hall of
intelligence
Fame.
gathering.
You can open the Hall of, and this is how we gather intelligence, like any good player. You can open the Hall of Fame to see Master Sergeant Nistler has joined the Hall of Fame, and Murphy is now way up there. These together have given us the sign that Dongerland is currently at war. With who?
Who knows? Who
I don't,
cares?
we
Not
don't. Who cares?
not us.
Also, it could have been this turn or last turn, but Marilande took the farm.
I think it was this turn. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You know, like it's just funny.
Our scouting's bad, but we're
Yeah.
buying more of them. Someday we will have bought enough scouts to actually see what's
See
going on
stuff?
in the world. Which is very funny because this entire time, the rest of the surface world was complaining that they didn't know what was going on in the lake because we kept them all in the dark so that we could have them watch our glacially slow YouTube series about it in order to find out what was going on.
We should put like the final episode of our War in the Ocean on Patreon and then charge people to watch it.
I ain't charging people a Patreon for this crap. Turns out we were wrong about their cowardice because while we jumped off to raid, their forces hiding up in the fort decided to break siege and sally forth against our armies. And they had quite a bit of forces still in the fort. They hadn't all retreated, that was new forces moving up.
Yeah. And this is also the first real time we got a hint that they knew how to use mages. Because
Jesus Christ, Darkwolf.
if you look at their mages, they're casting summon water power and have water gems. That
Yes.
means one thing and one thing only.
The water elementals are going to come out to play.
Oh,
No, we
I
tested
thought they were
against...
casting friendly currents, but if that's what you want to go with.
Okay. Jesus Christ. But,
Water elementals.
yeah, so we've tested against them, but we also now see that they have balled up a strong force with supporting elements in this province, and they are planning to chuck a bunch of water elementals at us in this minor fort. They're not going to retreat to the cap. They're going to fight to defend it.
And it's worth noting, and this is like something that did temper our perspectives a bit, is our greatest, or my greatest fear, I don't know about HP's, was quickened water elementals. Because quickened water elementals are stupid.
My greatest fear is fear itself. It's quite a strong ability.
He's up there, but quickened water elementals are extremely strong, extremely scary, and they do inflict really high amount of casualties. Like 8 attacks per square is kind of crazy.
But we can beat them. This battle I'm showing you, it's not that important, but this is where our army went. And we've got a ton of buffs that we are just painting on our guys. Ton of moss bodies. We're painting luck where we can.
Cheap fate.
Yeah, cheap fate for the lance catchers. But we catch this. They've got PD and they've got all these guys coming in. This reinforcement stack coming in here because they plan to fight upfield. So they weren't really planning around us. Ew. That was a gross death of those Asartids. But they weren't planning on us jumping around them and trying to come for the to raid their cap circle. But we did, and we caught their reinforcements, and we get another kind of bloody, kind of imperfect, but very good victory to keep their knights of the deep numbers down and keep us in the game. I think this guy runs before we can get him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a default name. Not a funny name, sadly. Yeah, these
We got
guys
funny names, though.
way too much time. Cringe Lord 2000. Some of these are going to be super. Some of these are going to be familiar. Some of them are new. None of them are as funny as we thought they were. And we also have another little raid here, which is
And
notable.
this is a moment to talk about Melia. Now,
Now,
Berserker, Berserker on Melia is an interesting case. And part of that is, I guess it goes back to basic thug design. The trick with thugs is to have layers of defense. And one of the best layers of defense, especially as a thug, is awe. Melia have awe 3, which is stronger than you'd expect. It's actually abhorrently strong. And awe 3 on Melia already makes them exemplary thugs. With Berserker, they don't route. With Fortitude, they don't have to be water or E randoms, they can be A randoms, and they don't have to use a buff slot. And with Blood Bond, they share damage with them. So you
right.
combine that with the Melias point buffing themselves, they can just kind of go through infinite amounts of PD. In fact, 3 Melia can kill an infinite quantity of PD.
I wouldn't call all one of the most powerful thug abilities, but it is a thug ability that does not that you cannot put on with a spell in vanilla. So all these other things like Moss Body and Regeneration and Misform and this absurd buff stacking we've got going, they all have spells for it. And of course, with Teaching Sign, it gets absurd. We can now cast all their spells at level 2, which is most of the self buffs that you care about. And
Also, key note here: we were big stupid, or I was big stupid because I think I scripted this, and I put blessing late, so when they engaged, they weren't blessed, but they still cleaned house.
yeah,
But that is a key point here.
true. They do get poisoned a bit. And does this get them in the Hall of Fame? I don't know. I think they
Uh,
may have to wait.
it
No,
does
does
not.
not. Very sad. But we do get to steal a Site Search Nature Gem from him with our barren, unsearched lands. I don't know what we were researching Alt 4 that was
Yeah,
so important that we didn't want to go and site search, but we really should have been site searching at this point, and I think we were
yeah.
too like cross-eyed focused on this war to do so. But the war's going very well. This force is kind of out of position. They have to retreat to here, so we're gonna have to PD dump a bit and ball up here because otherwise, I mean, we could go around and start raiding the back line, but we do not want him to catch us with this like big knight force. We need to get back to our main forces, ball up, and have some plan of attack to get at them. But as we go through these
It's
turns of maneuver and counter maneuver, and it might be interesting, like while we're doing this, other people are making other gains. Now, they're not making many gains because we haven't seen, I don't think a player has died yet. No, no
player has
players have
not died
died.
yet.
So they're not really any big. In a normal game, someone would be eaten by now. And in this game, they haven't been. But these people are also, like, developing infrastructure and other things while
And
we.
searching and researching and
Right.
building mages and multiple forts. Like,
While we, with our very early focus build, are still in the middle of this slog. While it does seem like we're just on the upswing and just winning underwater, we are costing ourselves valuable time. And if we hadn't made a couple of boneheaded moves in the early game, we could have probably shortened this by a considerable amount.
which would have put us in a better position in the future.
Yeah.
Because when you take an early game build, it's like your entire game is on a timer.
Yes, and I guess we've taken more of a mid game than a truly
Yeah,
early game build. Oh wait,
but it's still something quite front loaded.
we gotta talk about this. We've got more Melia coming in. This one's
I was going to talk about it next turn, but if you want to do it for this one,
well. We need to talk about what we're about to do. So these Melia
okay.
are set up. I forget if we go onto the throne with them or if we go in the army with
We
them,
go on the throne.
but these Melia are all set up with just a minimum of thug gear. They're gonna get a repel check on top of their already highly layered defenses. that you see. We've got one of them set up to do a regen cast so that they won't have to do personal regen, and they've got hats so they won't get bonked on the head. Darkwolf spent a lot of our
Because
gems on early thug gear, but I guess
okay. Before he like disses me for we didn't have many other uses of E. The other use was for gemming up to
right.
Earth Meld. But at this stage, we could just cast Earth Meld. So like, why
No,
would we
gemming
gem
up
it to
to
Earth Meld?
Strength of Giants.
Oh yeah, but we made enough E where I judged it
Yeah,
okay to gear
yeah,
up some Melia to take a throne and
yeah.
then
This
put
is fine.
pressure.
So we're
And
gonna
he agreed.
we're gonna
To
head into
clarify.
this throne with these Melia. We're gonna ball up here. We're gonna
Okay, here's a note. For some reason, we didn't name anything this turn. I think we
yes.
were just busy.
But after
And these
naming,
Melia.
oh, we can't show. We gotta censor that. After naming all this shit and all this shit and even some of this shit. Oh, look at the foreshadowing. The foreshadowing is thick with this one. We didn't name the Melia that we're sending as thugs into a throne. So,
Oh, dude.
maybe they'll die
Missed
gloriously,
opportunities.
and maybe we'll have default name Hall of Heroes characters. So, what we have here is a buffing Melia and 3 fighting Melia, 3 thugging Melia on our side. And on the opponent's side, the world's saddest communion with its communion slaves having gems and just hordes of militia and heavy infantry and typical independent garbage. Oh, we've got a bait mooch, the poor bastard.
Sent to die.
Yeah.
Don't worry, he wasn't married.
That makes it even more tragic. What did it cast Phantasmal Warrior for?
Uh, I don't know.
We've got a Melia running forward. I don't think that was intended. And then the other 2 run forward. And we're going to speed this up because there's going to be a lot of garbage coming at our Melia.
And if you just pay attention, you can see all of the awe checks that hit.
Yeah, each flash on an enemy infantryman is an all check that's successful. Each time the Melia makes the attack animation, just waving her arms around like a helicopter in the air, that's a successful repel check. Uh-oh, this Melia's gotten isolated and is getting chipped down, and is gone. This will go on for a while.
This was an interesting bet here. So the issue with having really, really good Melia thugs is even with Berserker, sometimes they just don't Berserk.
Right, because they aren't taking any damage. Or they're
In
not
fact,
taking
I'm
enough
helping
damage.
someone playing Therados, and he's having that issue with it, where his Melia will literally not Berserk.
Well, actually, in this case, it's not because the thugs are too good to berserk, because we saw the damage. But they take damage, they go berserk, right? Then they go to sleep and regen the damage and unberserk.
Yeah,
So you'll
that is
see
true.
this Melia isn't berserk. This Melia is berserk. But as the fight goes on, oh, she's not berserk. She's gone back to sleep. Because this fight went on for so long, and the indies did not really properly route yet. Though they might when this HP goes off the field. Nope, they've got too much skeleton HP. So the Melias, they aren't berserking, and they eventually will wake up and do a hit, and it'll kill like a long dead or an infantryman. And this goes on for quite a while. And the end result of all this is that we're beaten. We're not beaten very well. All the indies have is their command line and not even their wizards. So we do eventually get rid of most of this, but we lose Amelia and we don't get the throne. So that's very, very sad. And even sadder, we still haven't renamed them. So we have Pirnmo
Top two in the Hall of Fame
and Bulbe.
compared to the dudes with milk carts.
Yeah, straight up to three star, and I think this is 3 star. Though she did get a chest wound. Ouch. Beating the Melkarts. Well, someone else has been beating the Melkarts too.
Oh shit, they're all dead.
Gandalf Parker's still
They're
around.
dead.
His flag is being hidden by this Chromanus character. But two
But
unnamed default name Melia in the
well,
Hall of
okay.
Fame.
So at this stage, we got to stop referring them to that because all of our heroes last forever, and we will keep track of every single person who makes it in the Hall of Fame. So here you see Bulbe and Pirmo, the
Okay.
first two of hopefully a full Hall of Fame Amelia.
And at this point, we just see they're in the Hall of Fame, and we don't really contextualize the fact that Bulbe here has ended up with adept research ability and is now second only to our god in research and should be heading back to a lab immediately. But she will not head back to a lab for quite a long time.
Like turn 30.
Turn 30. So what happened in the real war? Well, these guys decided to just run up towards our cap to cut us off and kill this little stack of reinforcements that was meant to hurt a raider squad, and another example of us throwing away forces. I don't feel too bad about this one because if it caught a raider squad, it would have been good, and we thought they were going to collapse on here, which is it's much better to act like they're going to collapse on
Yeah.
here than act like they're going to collapse there, because if they do collapse here and you weren't expecting it, then you could lose potentially your entire force. So we have our PD
Yeah.
dump, and we have a lot of point buffers. We even actually point buff some of the PD by accident. But all they send here is this little raiding force, which is making little water elementals happen.
And they're actually, we find out this turn that we thought they were large water elementals. They have little ones, so we don't know where all their research has been. And this made me assume they had Alt 4 already.
Right.
And we're just like hiding it on the down low.
But I think the mages we killed early really set them back.
Yeah. That's what we think, like, that's what hindsight, but at the
Yeah.
time.
But we do get a just eat this force for free because these don't count. So we do get to eat this force for free. He gets to eat our force for not quite free, but we did have a PD dump that he ate for free. So it's kind of even trade.
Yeah.
And are sad. We go a bridge too far with these Melia.
It's actually an interesting situation. The Melia die of afflictions and not being able to kill the enemy, not of being like bad. And I think that's really respectable.
But we did run our fatigue up too much on our buffs.
Yeah.
On our
Well,
buff cycle.
no. I disagree just because it doesn't kill them in the short term.
Killed them in the long term.
Yeah.
But yeah, we come in here and they've got Knights of the Deep and we've got heavily fatigued Melias, and they are going to... We don't have any real kill mechanism on them, so they're just going to eventually chip us down.
And it really is eventually.
The battle report doesn't lie. They killed him, eventually. I'm not going to sit around and watch it. So now we're in this bizarre situation where we've got these...
They got an exploding die versus a low Melia die. Which, once they killed one, the damage wasn't being spread as much, which made the next one easier, and the next one easier.
Right. So you see the Melia's power, even though they eventually lost that battle, and that was stupid of us to send them there. If we'd sent all
that's
those
them getting
at
a
the throne,
plus
maybe we would've
26.
won. Yeah. But now we're in this weird situation where they're in our back line, we're kind of in their back line, and we're just kind of all over the place. This chaotic war.
And we're shuffling.
Yeah.
It's like, It's wasting time, like hindsight.
Yes, but we make an important discovery this turn, which is that with just a little bit of point buffing, and I think we have a Moss Body caster and maybe a Body Ethereal caster, but with a
Hmm.
little bit of
True.
point buffing, Krungod Supremo becomes damn near invincible to damn near anything. So we have to have him patrol this turn so our cap doesn't get overrun. But from this point onwards, we know or should know that because we do the tests, that our cap is actually safe. Even if our armies are in weird places, our cap will not fall because we can send our god out and it will just tank anything an enemy sends at it at this stage in the game. Quickened water elementals, Knights of the Deep, whatever, with the current build.
Hmm.
They could
Oh,
probably kill it
it's.
with a great sword of sharpness.
Mm-mm.
Oh
I
no,
guess enough Fomorian King if it doesn't get targeted, but
yeah,
like if it gets like a full battle and it gets an exploding die. But
right,
realistically, the more likely ways would be a Midget Masher, a Smasher,
right.
or casting Shatter.
Yeah, but without a geared Fomorian King, which we haven't seen out of them. What do we do here? We just ping. Yeah, without a geared Fomorian King, they're not going to kill Krungod. So from here on out, we have a lot more maneuverability than we thought we did because we don't have to send this army all the way back to the capital to defend it. We might do a little more dancing trying to catch this army, but this is very important. And we've got another piece of insurance up here. They've got theirs going up, we've got ours going up. Welcome to turn 19.
Can you believe that these dongers are trying to steal our damn throne?
This piece of shit sitting in there enlarged dongers because, of course, everyone wants their dongers to be larger. Led by a single Bakemono chief and a single horse tribe chief for insurance to try to take our throne. But the brave indie commanders slay one of them. These
Which is
bastards will
pretty
pay.
hilarious.
Oh wait, oh the goblin's coming into combat. He almost got a kill there.
Goblin Chad.
But fortunately, we just sent the same squad in that ran away from it last turn because we didn't want them to get caught by knights. And bam, instant victory. Screw you, Dongerland. What?
That's
Oh,
what you
off
deserve.
script? A glorious victory for Ann Kiriarkos. Get out of our fucking throne, you fucking mooch. Get those
Which is
chongers out of here.
which is realistically one of the like mid-tier thrones for us, the Throne of Life.
Yes,
It gives us three nature gems.
this is our lifeline throughout much of the mid game. I'm very sorry for that joke. I'm very sorry. But this throne
You
does
should
save our bacon.
apologize.
Growth does nothing. Spreading Dominion, whatever. But three nature gems, very good for us. Now watch as we leave it unclaimed for multiple turns, while our prophet derps around with our army, chasing the Cory Vecken villains. The Cory
What?
villains over
The
here.
next three turns is the dark stage of our the dark. What's it called? Dark side. No, no. Dark age of our intelligence. It's like the dark ages.
Yeah,
So like anything bad, just do what I do and blame it on Cumin.
take responsibility for your own actions.
No.
But the real war is going goofily, and the fake war is going lovely, and we finally have scouts. Finally, we see things. We see where Grippa is located, and this alleged Zan character who's supposedly voluntarily teaming with Grippa.
Which is of course a myth. Like, let's be honest.
I
Can't imagine anyone doing that.
I don't
It's
believe
probably just Grippa's alt.
it. We see that Hui has suffered more misfortune at the hands of the protagonists of Dominions, Bogus and his trolls, who have come in with their protagonist powers to take a province right next to his capital. Like total chodes. Remember, misfortune free scale. Always take it. We see Dongerland building forts right next to Marylandé, who is still very
Which,
small from our perspective.
yeah,
So we'll see
and
how
we
that
don't know
works
if
out
it's,
for him.
yeah, like it's an interesting spot.
And we are still,
Um,
I think, up in this war, but not really. So we've got to do something different to make
yeah,
this war winnable. We have the tools we need to win the war because we know for a fact that our god is like invincible, and we've even refined his script more to give him strength of giants, to add 6 to his already prodigious 22 strength. Now, why the fuck are we adding more to the strength of a no attack person? Well, if you'll notice our very limited research, in Alteration there's this spell, Fists of Iron, whose numbers of effects are increased 1 by each level the caster is, and whose damage is increased by the caster's level, and the strength of the caster is added. So
seven
six,
fists,
7 fists
7 fists, and
for
each one does.
16 plus 22 plus 4
That's,
plus
let me check this out.
7.
Actually, I want a calculator. Read me the
Right.
numbers.
So that is over 40 damage.
49 damage of each of his 7 punches or 8 punches.
And because of where our research is at this moment, he's got limited options. We did go blood magic to give him the option of blood boiling a mage in the back because you can apparently do that underwater, or something, so he doesn't just die to some clown ass shit. But he is probably going to be forced, once buffed and invincible, to cast Fists of Iron for absurd damage on the enemy units attempting to take our cap. And this is how we're going to grip it up. We haven't
And
really
you can see it.
fully grasped the strategic implications of this. We still chase this army around.
But you
But
can look. If you look at the mage next to him in the commander select screen, you can see a good
yes.
omen.
I already went over that one.
I don't care. I'm very proud of our naming sense.
Hall of Fame. So we're now the leader in live Hall of Fame entries, with Dongerland still leading because they have their many Dongers and their mercenaries. And we're seeing a little bit of activity from no, not Elshoes.
That's Imperia.
Imperia. Yeah, this Billy. We've got some Rees. And one of those Rees is dead. So we can tell that Imperia is, they're fighting and they're under some pressure. But as of yet, our scout network is still small and weak and underdeveloped and is only telling us a few things about the world and the state it's in. But we think we have a path to victory. And we even see some indies over here. Spoiler alert, we don't get them. But, it would be nice to.
It would be nice.
I
Well,
think that's the episode.
yeah.
You'll have to wait till next time for another announcer segment.
So give it like 3, 4 months,
Yeah,
depending on when we record.
maybe a year or two.
Yeah. Maximum 4.
Just give it a millennia or so.
Like I'm telling you, by the time Dominion 6 comes out, we'll definitely be done with this war.
Yeah. It's your fault,
Why are
though.
you drinking tea at 11:48 p.m., by the way? You're going to stay up all night.
It's herbal tea, okay?